know down to the second, everything that happened. I really believe that. So, if you're new here, because I'm just so grateful that missing people in America has has put up Richard's face on their Facebook site. It They have thousands and thousands, if not, I believe it could be 160 plus thousand followers on that site. So that is really, um, I'm super touched with that, and we are very grateful to get Richard's face out there. So it should have been happening by the military. The military should be doing it monthly to get Richard's face out there. Um, but it takes the people. It takes the people, and in this case, it takes the missing people in America, those that are behind it. And I'm like I said, I'm very grateful to do it, and that they were brave enough to do it because you know, we have the evidence that behind the scenes there was a group actively working to intimidate anybody that was helping us, intimidate anyone, and working, and what else they were doing, I don't know, um, except for spreading lies, um, to thwart any kind of help to find Richard, the Vanessa Guillen first absent soldier. So this is, we're really extra grateful because of their bravery. And I guess, I told you this is a sea change, um, because the narrative has changed. People are not believing these criminals, these manipulators, these witches. I think that's the best um, illustrative word is there are manipulators, and the right word for manipulator is witch, right? These witches behind the scene that want to spread lies, that want to intimidate witnesses, that want to fabricate witnesses, that want to fabricate false narratives, and hide evidence, tamper with evidence, and then fabricate other evidence. Uh, that is absolutely what we have discovered in our son's case. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit today. The name of this live stream is Hate Crimes. Hate Crimes. Um, and, to go back, we're at over 3 years now. And to go back in time to 2019 and 2020, um, mainly January 2020 to July 2020, what was going on there? What kind of environment did Richard find himself in? And where was this at? Um, so, what else was happening at that time? So, let me see if I'm on before I go into all Okay, I see everyone. Thank you, Anicia, for coming on. Thank you, Danielle, for coming on. Isn't that great news that Richard was featured today on Missing People in America? That is awesome news. Awesome to get his face out there. So, and the story is so crazy that you can't even report on it uh, ever really properly in a summary way for people to understand when they see Richard's face what has happened here. And I think that there should be two faces on that feature in Missing People of America, just to get a, and you might think it's Vanessa Guillen's face, but I'm really talking about Patrick Crucius's face. I think there should be two faces there, and they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on? What's going on? Is Richard involved in that case?" And at least it would get people's attention, because we are learning the extent of how Richard's case is intertwined with the Patrick Crucius case and these hate crimes. And so I want to make it very clear for to anyone that Richard was a whistleblower. He his love, his aspirations was the Criminal Investigative Division. He wanted to get into law enforcement, not just a police officer. That was not his aim. He wanted to be an investigator. Um, a private investigator or an investigator trained by the military, so that when he got out, he could become a private investigator. So that was what we have discovered. We knew that that was what he liked, and now we know that the evidence overwhelmingly shows that he was pursuing that. Um, we know that he was taking classes for it, but to make friends with CID agents, to inquire, because absolutely dirty agent Marlon Soto confirmed, we have it on record, uh, that Richard was inquiring on how to be a CID agent. And we know that he was taking classes. There's Park University right there on Fort Bliss, and they offer a CID internship. And our information is that Richard was in that CID internship taking CID, or criminal investigative law enforcement courses. So that changed everything in this case, because now we understood how he got involved with Ann Ogle, being a professor there at Park University, how he got involved with Thomas Kane, because he's also law enforcement, the director of emergency services, and there at Park University, and how he got involved and met Leilani Hart because she was trying to get a badge. She was very active there at Park University, and having an affair with Tavita Nusa, the dirty agent in the CID, former CID agent there on Fort Bliss, that gave her unauthorized access, and I think even Marlon Soto did, to tamper with files. They were tampering with files. They were tampering with Richard's file. But I want to make it very clear that this was a standard operating procedure, okay? She was tampering with many files, and they were absolutely, I'm alleging right here and now that they were involved in a lot of crimes in a criminal syndicate, and that's why she had to tamper with so many files. And also her divorce is, we've been very watching this very carefully, her divorce to James Hart, because she was reporting incest, pedophilia, predator, uh, um, child sex pornography, illegal weapons, threats, and just all kinds of felony crimes. I want to make this very clear. These were felony crimes. She was reporting to the CID that was accepted to the FBI. And, so there was a lot going on there on Fort Bliss, but we have to look a little bit broader because Felix Valenzuela, who she is absolutely involved with, of course, Ann Ogle, and, James Hart and Thomas Kane, and even some in the El Paso Police Department. So you have the CID, you have the IG, the CID, the VA, and now you have the AUSAs, right? You have the AUSAs involved, the DA, so now we're going from the command structure in the military getting involved with the politics of this whole thing, just like Bob Moore of El Paso Matters, getting involved in the politics, okay? They are participating and not being neutral, right? They're not being neutral. They're not just obeying orders. They are absolutely involved in the politics of the time. And in 2019 and January to July of 2020, 2020 was such a political year. Politics were very thick. It was an election year. And of course, the COVID, which we know now, was absolutely used to interfere with the election. Absolutely. There's not a doubt in my mind. There might be people out there that argue with me. I don't, I'm sorry. I'm standing on that because absolutely it prevented people from engaging with one another in an election year that they should have been able to do that. And there was zero risk, especially, zero risk. And yeah, oh my gosh, that's a long discussion. But I'm going to stand on that they were powers that be that were engaging in the politics, and that absolutely in our son's case, this was political because not so much of what Richard was reporting. Maybe we'll see one day when the records are open, we'll see exactly. We should absolutely have the CPS complaints in our hand, but they rather commit a crime than give us what he was complaining about with the child sex pornography, right? The tapes that he handed him. And we know that there was a lot of up to no good with the weapons trafficking and the children sex trafficking and the the narcotics trafficking. And so we know all that. We've been over it, all that. That's all definitely established truth. They have a problem on Fort Bliss. They have a problem, and I'm just going to talk about Fort Bliss for a minute because I know it's systemic, but I'm going to talk about Fort Bliss. We know for a fact that the leadership chooses to allow the criminal syndicates to operate on Fort Bliss. We know that they choose to allow this fentanyl-laced medication, the other narcotics to be on Fort Bliss. They choose to have the weapons problem on Fort Bliss. They choose it. They choose to have the unregistered weapons being in the barracks flush. I mean, we're talking all over the place. They choose to have the sexual harassment on Fort Bliss. They choose to have this weapons smuggling, money funneling problems on Fort Bliss. They choose to have it, and that implicates them, okay? Because we know that through COVID, if they want to click heels together and get the whole base to do what they want and clean everything up, they could do it. They proved it, they could do it. And there's no excuse for the criminality that they have on Fort Bliss, but they choose to have it. And Major General Eisenhower has chosen chosen to thwart and sabotage the investigation into Richard. Okay, he has chosen that, and I want to make that very clear that he has allowed a convicted criminal, uh, a unreliable source with a long criminal history to uh, to tamper with a witness, which also obstructs justice, also messes with the whole narrative of Richard's case, and smears a witness. And this witness then was banned from entering Fort Bliss, which this witness, in his official status as a whistleblower, but in his authority, had the power to go onto Fort Bliss and um, open the records to show everybody what was in there. And that is why that they had to obstruct justice and tamper with this witness, so that to prevent him from accessing records that in his official authority position that he holds, um, that he would not be able to access the records. So this is an obstruction. This is a huge obstruction of justice, and we have written Major General Eisenhower over and over and over again, proving that Leilani Hart is involved in the disappearance of our son's case because of her being the mother of Dallas Hart, being involved with Ann Ogle, being involved with Thomas Kane, being involved with Tavita Nusa, tampering with Richard's file, having a long criminal history of lying to authorities. And we've also have Thomas Kane writing a letter that we turned in to the general that said that this was an illegal ban, that they never they never did an investigation. They have no file. They have no file on um, this ban, and no notification. Nothing was done properly. And Thomas Kane, who said that Richard is like another Vanessa Guillen, that he is good food for the coyotes, that the JAG is working outside of the law. We sent this to the general, and the general has chosen not to do the right thing, not to um, pull an investigation, uh, give a notification, follow his standard operating procedures that he took an oath to follow. He does not have Richard's back. It's very, very clear. And so these hate crimes, I think that's a hate crime. Don't you think that's a hate crime? But that's not why I called this a hate crime. Um, in 2019 or 2020, or the end of 2019, I'll put it up. I was reading an article that the hate crimes went way down. So at the end of 2019, hate crimes were way down, and in 2020, there's this uptick. And I believe, this is my opinion, that the people involved in Patrick Crucius' case, okay? Patrick Crucius is guilty, y'all, okay? Patrick Crucius is guilty. But I think this was another political hit job. I don't think I don't think it is as simple as the media leads us to believe. I think the media is only just like in the um, El Paso Matters article that leaves out how Leilani Hart is an unreliable source and that she was reported a year before by the very same person she's attacking, that she was accessing, unauthorized accessing Richard Halliday's file to manipulate, to get rid of a video, to, and that she was the girlfriend of the former CID dirty agent that lost his badge. They never corrected the story. They never told the whole story. They only tell a part of the story, which is a false witness, um, because it makes you believe something because you don't have the whole story. And just like that, I think the Patrick Crucius case is just like that. And I'm not saying he's not guilty. He is guilty. But the more research that we do as Team Farm Richard Halliday, the more that we see that this very same people involved in suspects involved in the Code Red and retaliation and the murder of our son Richard Halliday are the same that are involved in the Patrick Crucius case. And the biggest evidence that came forward that led us to this truth is the Bliss Avenue uh, addresses with Tanya Katzen, with Lydia Ortega, with Eddie Lydia Ortega Rocha, and of course Yvonne Garcia Ortega, Eddie Ortega, and many more that connect Danae Katzen, who is Tanya Katzen's daughter, um, and connects, of course, Belen Rocha, who has always been involved in Richard's case, and many more, and Leilani Hart, and Dallas Hart, and many more in in both cases. In both cases, the very same people. And so in 2020, and this is my opinion, this is where the evidence, it could be circumstantial evidence, it can be irregularities, it can be hard facts. But when you put those together, what they're telling me is that there was a concerted effort to, in my opinion, manufacture hate crimes. To manufacture hate crimes because things were going too well for their enemy. Um, and I'm talking about a political enemy. Things were going too good for their political enemy, and they were fighting back. This was all out war, political war. I'm not saying guns, shooting, knives, whatever, even though I believe people died because of this. But this was a political narrative war. And I think they manufactured, uh, created, created a narrative, created crimes, created hate crimes, created false witnesses, false testimonies, and tampered with evidence, false evidence, created evidence, like Dallas Hart, the evidence that was created, the travel voucher, we believe is false evidence that was created, which is a huge crime. and the hiding of crime evidence saying that Dallas Hart, where is the platoon leader? Well, Dallas Hart was Richard Halliday's platoon leader. It's as clear as that. And, preventing us from speaking to Richard's unit, Richard's unit's leaders. Where was Colonel Dauber? Where was Lieutenant Colonel Michael Roddick? Where was Major General Clem Coward? They should have brought them all back. Where was Captain David Park? Where was First Sergeant Michael Ruggiero? Where was First Lieutenant Micah Brown? Where were they in those meetings? They weren't there. Where were they at the rallies? They weren't there. They weren't there. They didn't have Richard's back. They were prevented. That's tampering with witnesses, tampering with evidence. They manufacture evidence, and I believe that they have done that in the Patrick Crusius case. I believe that there were hate crimes um, uh, to foment that narrative. And I believe even at New Mexico State University, that, it started there, this hate crime reporting. And yeah, yeah. And, let's put that together. Um, why is Ann Ogle at Park University and New Mexico State University? Uh, what what does Felix Valenzuela have to do with all of this? What do some other major players have to do with all of this when they are intertwined with both Patrick Crusius' case and Richard Halliday's case? And why now people can understand why we are on the ninth, I believe the ninth prosecutor in Patrick Crusius' case there in the state. One of them died. One of them died. But Felix Valenzuela is the defense for Patrick Crusius. And I believe that Felix Valenzuela is a dirty defense attorney from all the evidence that I'm getting and that is why Bob Moore is now really kind of throwing Felix Valenzuela under the bus, which he needs to do. The media needs to do, because all of those sealed files need to be unsealed. And I think we will see names. I think we will see Eddie Roach's name and Lydia Roach's name and Yvonne Garcia Ortega's name. And I think we're going to see more and more names, um, in that list that will connect Richard's case clearly to the same people that were key witnesses, expert witnesses like Ann Ogle or whatever, for, involved in both cases, right? This small group of people, right? Let's say 30 people, right? But each having a position, a key position in our government, in our agencies, um, and that is that, so it's just this crazy little criminal syndicate, and they need to be arrested. They all need to be arrested because they were participating using our agencies, our government to pay for uh, a um, political attack machine. And that, of course, includes Bob Moore and El Paso Matters being part of the political attack machine. And of course, it includes Ann Ogle and Thomas Kane and Dirty Agent Marlon Soto and even Josh Lyons. Even Josh Lyons, Josh Lyons, dirty. Was he CID? Was he CID? Josh, were you CID instead of liaison? And then the dirty IG participants, and this um, a cover, not even a cover up. It was a political attack, and they had to control the narrative in order to pull it off. It was a concerted effort to do a psychological operation on the people of El Paso, on the people there over in New Mexico, um, to manipulate, I believe, to interfere with the politics, and in that year, the election. And their enemy was winning, was doing very, very well, and they had to interfere in that. And so they did this narrative for hate crimes, and scare people. And I believe that that fomented um, the hate crimes. And of course, we have Patrick Crusius guilty of the shooting at Walmart. Now, I think there's more to Walmart. Um, uh, but I have to leave that for the investigators. But what I will dive into is who fomented this hate crime narrative, who got it started, who got the ball rolling, whose plan was it? Whose plan was it to say, okay, we're going to do this political attack on our enemies? And of course, they know that they can only get away with their criminal syndicate if they control the politics, if they can control the district attorney, the AUSAs, the positions there that will do law enforcement, and they can only get away with it if they are owning the politics in that area. And they absolutely have this sweet deal because they're so close to the border. They are right, well, they are Siamese sister cities with Juarez, Mexico. And so they don't want their milk cow, their gravy train, to be interrupted. And it was being interrupted. It was being interrupted, and they did not just go off into the sunset. They fought. And the more we're learning, the more that they fomented this hate crime narrative. And when you speak it, then it happens, right? Then it happens. And I think they even then played on it and manufactured and tampered with evidence. I believe they tampered with evidence, and that's why I believe that those two houses on Bliss Avenue is so important. And I'm not the one making the allegations in this case. I hear that the allegations are already there. The allegations of them tampering with evidence and witnesses is already there behind the scenes in the Patrick Crusius case. And that's why they're not ready with the evidence. Isn't that uh, what Joe Spencer is saying? We're not ready with the evidence because the evidence has been tampered with. The witnesses have been tampered with. And so this is not me saying these allegations here. Uh, but I am saying that I believe that it's connected to those that are operating outside of 3905 Bliss Avenue, 3705 Bliss Avenue, and it is in regards to mortuary affairs. It is in regards to those that were the victims of these crimes, and there was tampering. And there was tampering with the paperwork, and that's what I suspect, from what I know. From what I know. And I think it makes sense. It is not just some kind of outlandish um, allegation, because if those houses are annexes for those that are doing paperwork for mortuary affairs, or whatever they're doing, if they're liaisons for mortuary affairs, if they are handling um, the deceased bodies for mortuary affairs, then I think that that is, just uh, uh, a well thought out allegation. And I believe that that's how they're hiding Richard, because they have control. See, there's anomalies, and there is some things that we're trying to understand around the medical examiner for El Paso, who makes a lot of money, six figures four times, right? And so he makes a lot of money. And, what are all these anomalies? And I'm not at liberty to say until we find out, because there are some bad actors out there that watch these live streams that want to keep us from finding out. And, I will just say that medical examiner, the connections, the just everything, there are some anomalies that we're trying to get to the bottom of, um, and and confirm. Um, but if and we were always thinking, okay, because of Nadal Baim saying that they found Richard's body, right? That they found him and he's dead, right? That means they have his remains, right? And then we have the three autopsies, one from Mexico, one from El Paso, and one from Fort Bliss. And, you know, it just, we're thinking, okay, who's messing with Richard's remains? Who is getting rid of Richard's remains? Who's messing with the paperwork so that people don't know that they have his remains? Why aren't they giving us our son's remains? This is from October of 2020 that we know that they have his remains. Um, and, so this is about mortuary affairs. This is about uh, tampering with a deceased person's remains. That's what this is. And of course, in Patrick Crucia's case, there are 23 deceased persons' remains. And we're praying to God that they didn't tamper with those um, findings, the paperwork for those remains, and because we think that they have. We think that they have. And that is why, uh, Joe Spencer cannot move forward, because they're not ready with the evidence. And there are allegations against uh, those in charge of doing the paperwork for the deceased remains, that they have tampered with that paperwork. And, so if I was Felix Valenzuela, right? Why isn't, he should want to release all of this. He should want to release all of this to expose. But the problem is, we believe that he is in the know. He's related. He's part of the criminal syndicate. He's part of, uh, 3705 Bliss Avenue and 3905 Bliss Avenue. He's part of it. He's part of the manufacturing of false evidence. He's part of the manufacturing of false, did I say evidence and witnesses, and also the tampering of evidence and witnesses. We believe that there is enough evidence that we have collected that point to, um, uh, you know, an immediate investigation into the Patrick Crusius case in regards to how it is intertwined with Richard Halliday's case. That is what we are wanting, that there is an immediate investigation of those people that are not giving us the truth for the Patrick Crusius case, and are also involved in not giving us the truth in Richard's case, and spending millions and millions of dollars of taxpayers' money to be up to no good, right? To not do their job. And what will that lead to? I don't know. I do know that it will shine a huge light, and we will find out. And I think there will be shockers in there. And so we should brace ourselves for those shockers. But absolutely, there's not a doubt in my mind that Richard's case is intertwined with those who are up to no good in Patrick Crusius' case, under the guise or their motive. Their motive was a political attack machine. And that's why you have the military, which is very sad, acting in conjunction with this political attack machine, and participating, with these people that, want to manipulate even an election. They don't want to have a fair election. And I can tell you that their character is the amount of lies and manipulation, right? The amount of lies and false witness testimony in Richard's case around that I know of, that I've heard, that I've experienced, the bullying, the intimidation, the evidence tampering. We have evidence tampering that we know of in Mexico. Evidence tampering in El Paso. They have witness statements that they absolutely have deleted, that they've tampered with. They are just have proven to us in our 3 years that they are absolutely capable of carrying out the allegations that I am reporting today. They're absolutely capable of political attack machine tactics, asymmetric warfare tactics. They're absolutely. And so this is through, we believe, the mortuary affairs. I think that is a big thing, because if you can tamper with the forensics evidence, and then to foment, because we have evidence that about threads, about a thread. Okay, I'm just telling you, there's a thread out there that a suspect in Richard's case started way back, before Richard went missing, right? To report on Patrick Crusius, before Patrick Crusius shot up the Walmart and carried out his heinous crime. That threat, okay? Wowzer. So it's all connecting. It's all connecting. And don't forget, there's other evidence, car evidence, there is record evidence, there is testimonies, and it's starting to weave now the picture, because this is intertwined. The Patrick Crusius case and Richard's case are intertwined. So, the same people, and this is very good news. This is very good news because to El Paso, to Fort Bliss, to Juarez, to New Mexico, that area there, you do not want hate crimes, right? You don't want hate crimes. And you don't want massive amounts of people to be dealing in drugs and weapons and child porn and human trafficking and all of that. You don't want massive amounts of people doing all of that. And I'm going to tell you what we've discovered is it is a small group of people up to no good. And this gives the true law enforcement community there hope, and also that they don't have this huge mountain in front of them, right, to get justice for their area, that they can easily hone in to this criminal group, this criminal political attack syndicate. They can hone into them through the Patrick Crucius case, through Richard Halliday case. They can see it. If we can see it, and we're not trained in law enforcement, and we can see how they're working together to bring harm to the community in order to manipulate the minds and the thinking, the truth of the El Pasoans and New Mexico. If they want to come in and be up to no good and give a false testimony to the crimes, right? Making false evidence, to make false testimony, to make a false story to be reported on, Bob Moore's El Paso Matters, so that they can interfere in the opinions of the people, right? And they know that they've only given part of the story, or that they've given a false witness. They know when they use Leilani Hart in that story, they absolutely knew they were using an unreliable source, and I don't think it was anything new. I don't think it was anything new. But they needed to block Richard Halliday's case from going forward, because Richard Halliday's case exposes those that fomented hate crimes in the Patrick Crucius case. Those that manipulated, for politic reasons, the minds of the people there, in order to get them to vote a certain way, do something a certain way. And that's not me saying it. That is not me saying it. That is where the evidence has taken us. It has been way over 3 years. I was saying it was politics because the COVID was preventing us from getting answers, and I blamed it on the whole COVID mandate thing. But I think this is even more, because this is where the evidence has taken us. The hard evidence, the irregularities. Why was Josh Lyons assigned to us as a liaison when he is an asymmetric warfare, an asymmetric group warfare in law enforcement? Was he connected to the CID? You better believe that asymmetric warfare tactics are connected to the CID, right? Why is he our liaison when he specializes in homicide? He specializes in homicide? I mean, Josh, if this is not true, then please contact us 941-677-0060, because then there's people creating false information about you. And there's a lot of false information going on around there, around everywhere, right? And what this live stream, what Team Find Richard Halliday has tried to do the hardest in this sea of false information is gather the stones of truth. Put together the truth every day, put it together, find out what happened to Richard, and you know where all those stones are leading? It's like, has anybody ever been up to Northern Ireland, to Giant's Causeway? This is like the stones of Giant's Causeway that has come up, and that causeway is leading to this political attack criminal syndicate, that they are moved and get their orders to manipulate the minds of the people in order to carry out their criminal syndicate. Why are we, it has to be like a mind control thing. By the way, I think Crucius's family was in mind control. Wasn't his father in mind control? I think his father wrote a book about mind control, right? So this has to be some mind control, because why are we with our beautiful military installation having 14-year-old girls being prostituted out while living in the barracks? Why are we putting up with our soldiers' suicide rates so high? Why are we putting up with all the PTSD? Why are we putting up with the barracks being flush with unregistered weapons that these soldiers that seem to not have esprit de corps go out into our city and shoot up people? Why are we putting up with the narcotics being on our military bases? Are they not secure that you can just sneak all of these drugs onto our military bases? Is it that easy to sneak things onto our military bases? Could they sneak bombs onto? Could they sneak guns on? Could they kill our soldiers? Because they're doing it with narcotics. They're doing it with this fentanyl-laced medications, and that means we have a security issue on our military base. Why are we putting up with that? What kind of mind control have they done to make us think this is normal? This is not normal. This is not normal to spend trillions and billions and millions and billions and trillions of dollars and not have a secure military base that has all of our weapons and our most precious soldiers, our sons and daughters on there that are being killed left and right, mentally and physically. This is not normal. So we have been psyoped. They have done their best to make us think that this is normal, that people rape children, right? That this is normal, that we have sexual harassment, that we put up with that. This is not normal. So they absolutely have been successful because they've been doing this for years. So long that they can have a person as a CYS administrator and working in Park University, have one of their people as the DES, the Director of Emergency Services, Chief of Security, the unsecurity of Fort Bliss, and working at Park University. Have a person there at the VA that is controlling the board, the health board for veterans disability benefits, that he can use that. That's a good bribe, and that was out of Lalani. This is why the divorce is going to be interesting, because is she going to mention how that he was trying to train, use his position to favor whatever crimes he was doing, you know? And is she going to mention that he's been a pedophile predator in their family? That he's been engaging in incest in their family? I want to know. I want to know if that is going to come out in their divorce, right? Because that has a lot to do with our son's case. And I'm not crazy to be interested in the Hart family when the Hart family uh, is the suspects. Where's my son? Where is my son? And, all the lies, all the lies. And they're absolutely criminal. Um, so this is, uh, they have messed with us uh, to, uh, think that the sex cult is normal. No, it's not normal. And today I even posted up how the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the LDS, how they have covered for their sex cult, their pedophilia, their whatever the sexual crimes that they are having trouble with, that they have covered it up. If they're covering it up, right? That means that it's growing, and it has grown, and it's growing more. And according to 3 years of looking into this, absolutely, uh, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has not reached out to us, even though just about all of the people involved in this, that are connected, intertwined with the Patrick Crucius case, are Mormons. Okay? So many. So many. I don't think it's 100%, but it's very near there. Very near. It's a majority. And that is not by accident. Okay? And, so maybe the leadership will say, woo, what have we been doing? Maybe they'll recognize what they've created in this, because it absolutely has to do with sex cult stuff, but even more so, well, who knows what comes first, right? The sex cult and all the criminal syndicate stuff, or the politics, because they can't do the politics. They can't do their crime without the politics, and then they have to have the politics in order to do the crime. It's, so they have to have both. They have to have their people and voted in to cover this up, to have all of these people in the IG, in the as a defense attorney, to cover this all up for them. Uh, they have to have the institutional support to be criminal, right? The legalized criminality, or at least the hidden criminality. And so this is 3 years, the causeway, the giant's causeway to this criminal syndicate is very clear. I should call it the giant's causeway of truth, right? The giant's causeway of truth. Those rocks are just there, and they are forming a road, a causeway, and it's going right to the Patrick Crucius case, Richard Halliday's case, into the agencies, into the mortuary affairs, and with the defense attorney Felix, and also to Bob Moore, right? So, yeah, if you have any questions, Mrs. Halliday, you're amazing, and we are praying for your justice. Thank you so much. Praying for justice. Thank you so much. Um, thank you. And, you know, we are just praying that no other family has to be put through this. You know, what is it going to take? What is it going to take? Who is it going to take? And, you know, we're not going to get our son back. Okay. I understand that. But what they've done is hurt our military too, on top of it. It's not enough that they take out a witness, that they take out a whistleblower. It's not enough for them. They want to hurt our military. They want to hurt our country. They want to hurt the El Paso area. El Paso area is a beautiful ancient city, and it is right there. Has so much potentiality, so many great people. Um, you know, just and they want to control it in a way that is not good. They want to bring in the crime, and they choose to do it. These leaders choose to do it, and it hurts so many, so many. So we just feel like we have, you know, God has put us here for this time, and we have no choice but to um, expose what they've done. And, you know, we'll see what happens. And we absolutely know the risk of this. We know where it's going. We know it's politics. We know it's a criminal syndicate. We know it goes um, into Juarez. We know people are dying over there in Juarez. You know, the crimes is just through the roof. That comes over into Texas. If we had a productive, vibrant economy, and not fomenting this hate crime by these criminals, you know, the criminals are the ones that want that. They're the ones that want that. We wouldn't have to worry about the border. We would be proud that those that live in Mexico would be proud to live in Mexico, and those that live in Texas would be proud to live in Texas, and we would share each other's countries. We'd cross over like we used to do when I was little. Loved going over there. But we have an active politics or whatever that wants chaos and destruction. And, you know, we have a big military base right there called Fort Bliss, and there's no excuse. No excuse. It is not normal. And Fort Bliss is not there just to manage the new national park, right? The new oh, we have a mission for Fort Bliss. They have to manage the national park. Okay, set aside 5 to 10 people. But the rest of them, they have a different mission. And it's not to be drunk the whole time. It's not to be high the whole time. It's not to screw each other. It's not to do all of that stuff. You know, um, so they don't have a proper mission for Fort Bliss, and Fort Bliss is hurting, and it seems like they are hurting El Paso. Then they need to go away. Then they need to go away. Then we don't need a Fort Bliss. Because right now, all of those monies seem to be, to me, supporting criminal activity. And those are American funds. So I just don't, you know, and I'm always pro army, but, you know, I think they need to go somewhere else then. Um, and people might say, but what about the jobs? I think, you know, the jobs will be there. the jobs will be there. And our faith is in God, not a government, not an army. Um, it's in the government from heaven. And it is, we need those small businesses. We need to aspire again and to create things again. And yeah, I don't know. It's just now I'm just kind of um, thinking out loud, which probably I shouldn't do. Um, yeah. So, but when you see a military along with a criminal syndicate, they team up together to create something like the Patrick Crucius case, something like Richard Halliday's case. You tend to think out loud. So, all right. Thank you so much, everybody. And we will be back. I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Happy Sunday. We are burning the midnight oil again. Um, but that's what it takes. That's what it takes. Um, we need to do that. So thank you for supporting us. Please sign the petition for the active duty soldier. He's deployed right now. Okay, he is real. He is real. And we have the communication with Veronica Escobar to prove it. Maybe I should put that up. I can redact and put it up. That he is real, and they are nervous about him because he's a witness, and he's also inquiring, and he's young. And see, this is where they tamper with witnesses, and I'm sure he's under extreme stress and pressure to not have um, the request for the congressional inquiry. And, he's smart. He knows how to do things without us telling him because we don't even know him. We don't even know him. But he did contact us after the agents came to see him because what the agents said to him was that Richard was a closed case. And we have confirmation from Veltri that Richard is an open case. So, the manipulation is there. And I'm just saying he needs our support. And if those that are up to no good are worried about this soldier and about the congressional inquiry, that is more proof for Team Find Richard Halliday, everybody out there, to support him, to support that petition. I need to put it up. Sign the petition and share the petition because it's real. It's real. If they're worried about it and they're saying it's not real, then that's more reason for you to know that it's real. And so pray for him because what's real is the human tolerance to undergo this kind of pressure. And if he's not being supported, they absolutely know that, people can fall under the pressure. And we have had people that really wanted to help that got afraid because of what was going on behind the scenes. So, yeah, this soldier, he's standing strong still, and from what he told us, but we need to give him support. And I don't know what Veronica Escobar is going to do. She has a duty to him as an active duty soldier. So to write Veronica Escobar is a good idea too. So if you want to write her, absolutely write Veronica Escobar. She needs to follow through and make sure that he's protected as a whistleblower because he is a witness. So thank you so much. God bless you. Well, if there's racism, the ones in control set the atmosphere by doing things that pit one against the other by things like this. Oh, you're putting up a Breitbart. She had a duty to Richard as an active duty soldier. Yes, absolutely. So, yeah. Um, and it's, to list something political, I have to, yes, she felled Richard. Absolutely. Um, so thank you, everybody. And, I will be back tomorrow, sign the petition, and God bless you. Bye bye.